Well, let's start in Myanmar, where a rebel group has handed over at least 260 people rescued from suspected scam centres along the country's border with Thailand. Footage from the Thai army shows hundreds of people crossing a river border into Thailand. Officials say those rescued are of some 20 nationalities and more than half are Ethiopian. Last week, Thailand cut electricity, internet and fuel supplies to border towns in Myanmar in an effort to choke scam compounds, which have become a growing security concern. Ilham Issak, reporter for ABC Chinese, joins us from Taipei. Ilham, you've spoken with people who have escaped these compounds. What have they told you about what happens inside?
The people I spoke to describe these compounds as a mix of a business and a prison. And once they're smuggled in, they're told straight up, either scam people online or their families have to pay ransom to get them out. They're given fake identities with full backstories, plus matching social media accounts to reach out to potential victims. The scammers are given specific quotas, and if they don't meet the quotas, the punishment is often brutal. Some are forced to run under the scorching sun, while others were beaten with electric batons. And there have been reports, Yvonne, of people being beaten to death in these scam centers. One man I spoke to tried to contact his family. When his boss found out, he was violently beaten and left handcuffed under the sun for days. His fingers still have nerve damage and his back was severely burnt. A month after his escape, Yvonne, I could still see the bruises on his body.
Some of these stories are really worrying. In recent weeks, a lot of focus has been on Chinese citizens involved in these scam centres, allegedly. Despite how global this issue is, Taiwan is in a particularly tricky position, though, for negotiations. How are Taiwanese people getting out?
I've spoken to escapees, families of those still trapped, and independent rescuers, and they all say the same thing, Yvonne, that is, Taiwan's government simply isn't doing enough to help. Part of the problem, as you've alluded to, Yvonne, is Taiwan's diplomatic isolation. Unlike China, Taiwan cannot coordinate rescue operations with Myanmar or Thailand. But beyond that, families describe a frustrating maze of bureaucracy and a complete lack of a streamlined process for handling these cases. Right now, most successful rescues were carried out by independent rescuers or families paying ransom directly themselves. One man I spoke to was released after his father paid 50,000 US dollars, but only after he reached out to the Taiwanese triad for help first. According to local media, the triads have been successful in negotiating release in some cases.
Ilham, these scam centres are in Myanmar, which has been embroiled in a civil war, as we know. Many of these centres are run by Chinese nationals, yet it's been the Thai government that's trying to show it's cracking down on this issue. Can you explain that?
A lot of this comes down to China's influence and Thailand's need to save its tourism industry. After the highly publicized case of a Chinese actor who, like many victims, was smuggled into Myanmar after first lured to Thailand, China's public outrage was huge. Concerts, shows, and tour groups were canceled, and Chinese tourists began avoiding Thailand for safety concerns. Since China is a major source of tourism revenue for Thailand, this became a serious issue. And in response, Thailand's prime minister has gone to great length to reassure Chinese tourists, even traveling to Beijing, to promise stronger security measures. On the ground, Thailand has also cut electricity to these scam compounds near its border. This is a very rare and direct actions against them, but ultimately these operations are inside lawless areas of Myanmar, so actually going in and rescuing people remains a challenge.
Some very interesting insights. Ilham Issak, thank you.
Thanks for having me.